Hi Toklas, it's Mr. Penny again. Now I uploaded a video on Tuesday introducing Epic Books and explaining what it's all about and what you can do with Epic Books. So if you haven't seen that video, I recommend watching that one first, because that tells you how to log on. It shows you how to get onto the different pages, has a bit of an explore around, and it gives you a bit of tips to start off with. Now, this is kind of the second video in that series. It's going to be uploaded slightly later in the week, so it'll probably be around Thursday or Friday I upload this, but I'm recording this straight afterwards. That's why I'm wearing the same t-shirt. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to start reading some books to you, and I'm going to start setting books for you to read at home as well. Now, these are books that are either going to be useful for the things we're learning about, or they're just nice books sometimes. I'm also going to have the option for you to suggest books to me. So if you do start reading on Epic Books and you find a book you like and you sort of start getting a bit interested and you want to share that with the rest of the class, if you send me an email or if you just tell me about it, make sure you tell me the name of the book and the author so I know which book I'm looking for in case there's more than one book with the same name. But that'd be really useful because then I can start sharing some ideas with the class and I might pick your book as one of the ones to share. And I'll give you a bit of a shout out as well. Now, our first book we're going to look at as a class is a book called A Scarf for Keiko. So, once I've logged into Epic Books, remember I've used my class code down here to log on to our section of that. I can just type in A Scarf for Keiko. Now, I'll leave that down here in this document as well, so you can see what it's called. So I can search for that, and it's this first one up here. And that is by Anne Malaspina. Now, A Scarf for Keiko is a really interesting book. It's not set in England, and the name Keiko might give you an idea about where it might be from, because it's not a name we normally come across. But if we look at the little introduction down here, this is what's normally the blurb. It says it's 1942. When Keiko's family is forced to move to a camp for Japanese Americans, can Sam find a way to demonstrate his friendship? Now, you might not know this, but during World War II, it wasn't just Germany that the Allies, England, France, America were fighting. There were other countries as well. And Japan was one of the countries who we were against in that World War, which was a bit of a problem for some people in America, because before World War II, a lot of Japanese people moved to America. And that meant when the war started, they weren't always trusted by the American public. And it was quite a dark time in American history, because what eventually happened was the American government made special camps for all the Japanese Americans to live in. And they basically weren't allowed to leave these camps. So this is a story all about what happened around that time. Now I'm going to start off by reading the first part of this book to you, and then I'm going to let you carry on and read it yourself. And then the work next week will link to this book a little bit as well. So if you haven't read it by next week, you've got a bit of time over the weekend, or you can obviously look for it next week as well. So it says A Scarf for Keiko by Anne Malaspina. The needles slipped from Sam's hands. Let's zoom in a little bit. The needles slipped from Sam's hands, and the wool tangled up in knots. Knitting made him want to pull out his hair. Next to him, Keiko bent over her wool. Her needles flew like the wind. Click-clack, click-clack. Rows of blue stitches grew inch by inch. Good work, Keiko, said the teacher, Miss Olsen. Having a problem, Sam? Click-clack, click-clack. Remember, pick up the yarn, wrap it around the needle, pull the stitch through, she said. We must do our part for the war effort. Our soldiers are counting on you, Sam. That's a mistake, Sam thought. I'm a terrible knitter. No one should count on me. In the lunchroom, Sam felt a tap on his shoulder. Keiko smiled at him. I can help you with your knitting. Keiko was Sam's next-door neighbour. Ever since President Roosevelt declared war on Japan in December, some of Sam's friends refused to talk to Keiko and the other Japanese-American students at First Street School in Boyle Heights. I don't need any help, mumbled Sam, turning away. Keiko's smile disappeared. Suit yourself. She turned her back and sat at an empty table. After lunch, Sam played catch with his best friend Jack. "Have you heard from Mike?" Jack asked as he caught the ball smoothly. Sam shook his head. When he thought about his older brother fighting in the war, Sam's stomach tied up in knots like the yarn on his desk. "Don't worry," Jack said. "He's probably too busy winning the war to write a letter." After school, Sam saw Keiko pedalling past him down East First Street on her fire-engine red bicycle. A car slowed down, and a teenage boy leaned out the window. Splat! An egg landed on the sidewalk. "Go back to Japan!" the boy yelled. Her bike skidded, but Keiko didn't fall. She pedaled even faster around the corner as Sam watched. That night, Sam listened to the radio of his parents. President Roosevelt was announcing the latest war news. "Do you think we're going to win?" Sam asked. "If we all do our part," Dad said. "I hear that you're knitting for the soldiers. Good for you." Knitting again. Sam sighed. On the way to school, Keiko's brakes screeched at the crosswalk. "Hello, Sam." Knitting needle stuck out of her bag. Standing next to Jack, Sam pretended not to hear. "How's Mike?" The light changed and they pushed across the street. "I hope he's okay," Keiko shouted, flying down the street. Jack elbowed him. "You shouldn't talk to Keiko, Saito. What would Mike think?" Sam's brother had helped Keiko fix her bicycle once. He had shown her how to patch a flat tyre and grease the chain. Mike wouldn't mind Sam talking to Keiko, but that was too hard to explain to Jack. "I didn't talk to her," Sam said. "She talked to me." For now, that's where I'm going to pause. So I'm on page 8 of 32. On page 8 of 32. Now, what I'd like you to do is just read the next few pages over the weekend. If you read the whole book, fantastic. Remember, if you want it read to you, I'm not sure this book has that option. No, this book hasn't got that. So you have to read this one yourself. But I want you to get to at least page 16. So this one here about Keiko sitting on her front steps. So it's about 8 pages there. It's not a lot to read, and hopefully it's quite an interesting book, but that's your target. If you read more than that, that's fantastic, because you'll see what happens in the rest of the story and you'll start picking up some clues about what's happening as well. But you can then sort of carry on and figure out what you think is happening in the story. When you're reading it through, think about what the characters are feeling. Now think about why certain characters are acting that way. So if I go back to page 7 and 8, we've got Jack over here who's elbowing Mike and saying you shouldn't talk to Keiko. Try and think about why he might be saying that, because as with all books, a lot of them have reasons and ideas behind them. So try and pick up on some little clues. If you want to think about the way pictures have been drawn, that might be useful to show you as well. For example, a lot of the pictures are quite dull and quite sort of not particularly colourful. They're all sort of brownish, so that might give you some clues about what's happening as well. Now, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. As I said before, if you start reading any different books you'd like to share with me, or you want Mr. Payne to read, send me an email, tell me the name of the book and the author, and I'll try and read some of those books myself as well. I'm talking to Mr. Prescott, and hopefully I'll get my own accelerated reader account, so I can start doing tests and I can have a bit of a competition against some of the people in the class. So, bit of a warning, you'll start soon hearing from Mr. Payne about a bit of a competition of reading. If you do read any of the books, and remember a lot of these books have got accelerated reader levels, down here, you can log into the accelerated reader website, which is ukhosted3.renlearn.co.uk/2243813. Your username will be the first letter of your first name, so for Mr. Payne that's J, and then it is the first 4 letters of my surname for the majority of people, so PAYN, and the password is ABC. And you can use that to log in and take tests on your own books as well, and that will keep updating your score. So if anyone is looking to be a millionaire reader, anything you read, make sure you do a test on it, and I'll keep track of that as well. I've already seen a few people doing tests on there, so that's really good to see. I hope you're having a nice time at home. I hope you're working hard, but not working too much, so you've kind of got a bit of time to chill out, and hopefully you're not getting too stressed about it. And I will speak to some people later on this week to see how people are getting on as well. I'll catch you in a bit. Goodbye.